A life of service. This is the life story of Venerable Dhammananda in just 8 minutes. In this video, we will take you on a journey that brought a great teacher from Sri Lanka to Malaysia and how he brought the light of Dhamma into our hearts and across the world. His childhood in Sri Lanka. Just 100 years ago, on the 18th of March, year 1918, a child was born to the K.G. Gamaje family. His name was Martin. He lived here in the village of Kirinde, Matara, in southern Sri Lanka. When he was 13, he was ordained as a training monk with the name of Dhammananda. At 17, he left Matara to study at Colombo for the next 10 years. At the age of 27, 4 years after his higher ordination, Venerable Dhammananda left Sri Lanka for India. There, he entered the Banaras Hindu University in Varanasi, where he graduated with a master's degree in Indian philosophy. The journey from Sri Lanka to Malaya. In 1952, when Venerable Dhammananda was 34, he was selected among 400 monks for a mission to Kuala Lumpur, Malaya. Saying goodbye to his loved ones and friends in Sri Lanka, he travelled by ship towards Malaya and 3 days later arrived in Penang. He stayed a few days at the Diorama Buddhist temple at Kampar Road, Penang, before arriving in Brickfields, Kuala Lumpur. Over the next 50 years, Malaysia would become his adopted country, and the Brickfields temple in Kuala Lumpur would become his home. Under his leadership and guidance, the temple would emerge as the main center of Buddhism in Malaysia. Dhamma talks and Buddhist education. Venerable Dhammananda united Malaysian Buddhists with a common education program. He regularly organized and gave Dhamma talks and religious discussions almost every night of the week into the 2000s. He gave talks in many Malaysian universities and helped establish many new Buddhist societies. In 1965, at the age of 47, in recognition of his missionary and educational service in Malaysia, Venerable Dhammananda was conferred upon the title of Chief Sangha of Malaysia. From 1970 to 1975, Venerable Dhammananda went on his world missionary tour of the East and West, visiting many universities in Britain, the United States, and in Sri Lanka. Since then, he has been invited to many places around the world, touching countless lives, inspiring them, guiding them towards the Noble Eightfold Path. Writing Dhamma books and other works. From the 1950s into the year 2000s, Chief Reverend K. Sri Dhammananda has written more than 40 books, and his Dhamma talks and lectures have been recorded into audio cassettes and video recordings. Individuals who have assisted in editing and proofreading his books include Te Tian Chu, LLG Jayawardene, H.M. Albert de Silva, Vijaya Samavikrama, and Datuk Seri Dr. Victor Wee. These books were written in simple-to-understand English, and for the first time, the public was being exposed to the real teachings of the Buddha. These books were reprinted by the thousands, distributed around the world, and translated into many languages. In 1991, Chief Reverend was conferred upon the title Maha Nikaya Thera of Malaysia and Singapore by the Malvata chapter of the Siam Maha Nikaya. The final 6 weeks of a great monk. Towards the final months of his life, Chief was still writing his final book, Where is the Buddha, in his sick bed. In 2006, Chief Reverend was 88 years old. His body was so weak that he had to give Dhamma talks in a wheelchair. His talk on July the 10th, 2006 would be his final sermon, as his condition worsened after a second mild stroke. On August 21st, upon his return from Singapore, he was to be readmitted to a hospital in Subang Jaya, but instead of going there straight, Chief Reverend insisted the ambulance driver take him to Brickfields Temple instead. There, he had a final look at the temple, bid goodbye to his dedicated disciples, his dearest friends, and his beloved animal companions. For those 9 days at the hospital, Chief Reverend would receive many visitors, and when he was able to, he would give them his blessing. On the 30th August, Mahathera Venerable Sarada led the Parita chanting for the entire night. The next day, Chief Reverend Venerable Dr. KSD01 Dhammananda Nayaka Mahathera passed away at 11:30 a.m. in the morning. Paying our final respects to him. It was the 3rd September 2006, 3 days after the passing away of the late Chief Reverend. About 10,000 people came to Ashoka Hall at the Brickfields Temple to pay their last respects to a great teacher. At 3 p.m., the casket was transported to the Nirvana Memorial Park in Semenyih, where the body was to be cremated. A 40-foot funeral pyre made using 5 tons of sandalwood had been constructed for the cremation ceremony. More than 4,000 devotees were there, and then it began to rain. An hour later, the thunderstorm stopped, and by 6:30 p.m., the funeral pyre was lit up. As the fire blazed on, the sky cleared orange, and a rainbow can be seen in the evening twilight. Throughout his life, the late Chief Reverend Venerable Dr. KSD01 Dhammananda Nayaka Mahathera has been our Dhamma teacher of the highest dedication and compassion. May we follow the path he has shown, and by his example, spread the Buddha Dhamma in any way we can, big or little. Thank you for watching the life story of KSD01 Dhammananda in 8 minutes.